Hi, my name is Lona Muthamia Ochido, and I'm making it one of my life's mission to demystify the speech therapy field and to empower more parents on what they can start to do in order to optimize their child's communication outcomes. So whether you want your child to talk more or talk better, learn better, and overall optimize their potential. So stay tuned and feel free to send in any topics on speech and language development you'd like for me to tackle. Hi, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about which type of book is better to make your child talk more. This kind or this kind? Look, this looks very child friendly, like perhaps, and by child I mean toddler, and this one probably looks a bit maybe not as exciting, but these kinds of books, which are the books that I see a lot of children or a lot of parents buy their children, that have the first words, and they are labeled first words, baby's world, or baby's first words or 50 words. I actually don't find them as good for building language, because I'll explain. There's just single words everywhere. And not just single words, but the other problem with these words is that they only belong to one group. So who can tell me? Let me know in the comments below what group of words all these words here belong to. So you have bucket, you have tree, you have an exception of green, you have spade, you have fish, you have keys, you have banana, exception of yellow, but exception of all the colors, you have flower, you have tractor. So let me know in the comments what kind of or what group of words all those words belong to. And I'll tell you now anyway. So they're mostly nouns. So if you have mostly nouns, then your child will always just label things, which is not a bad thing, but they don't get a sense of how language works if all they're doing is labels. And also, if these are mostly the books that you have in your house, you tend to ask just the same questions to your child. And the questions are, what is this? And what is this? And some parents think this is the way to grow a child's language, but really it isn't. I have encountered children who come to the clinic who are armed with 2 books. I remember a child who came in with 2 books, and you could see they're dearly loved books. And one book was similar to this, but just much bigger, that had a lot of nouns, didn't even have the colors. So this one has a few colors. And the other book was a numbers book. So it was number 1 to, I think, number 50. And this child was a bit rigid with their language skills. And I remember I could not even try and get them to do, to count in the book that was just about the labels. They just wanted to keep it quite separate. So you see, this child, the books that this child was reading was actually perpetuating more of the rigidity in their language. So what about this other book? So this other book is, and this is just, it could be any other book as long as it's not like a first vocabulary kind of book. You can have them and you can have fun with them, but really they don't grow language as well as these kinds of books. So this one is Harry McClary, which is a dearly loved book in my household. And it has nice pictures and it has a story. So if you have a story, it helps model how conversation or how language takes place. And also it has a lot more variety of vocabulary contained in it. So there's big, you see. So let me start a little bit. So out of the gate and off for a walk went Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. So you can label, you can talk about, where, so you can have where questions, whereas you cannot have where questions with this book. You could if you're intentional, but mostly these books just get you to ask, what is this? And then there's a word there, there's big. Big is a good word for toddlers to learn. It's a polar opposite. So there's just a lot more language that a child is exposed to in a book that actually has a storyline. And it also, as I said, it helps children understand how language works. So these are the books that, if you want to grow your child's language, these are the books that you need to read to them more often, you know. And check out my other video that just demonstrates how you can read to a child to grow their language skills. But if your child is not talking and you mostly have these kinds of books and the numbers and whatnot, start to add a lot more books that have a storyline. This is another book that has a storyline, and it's really good. It has a lot of repetition for sounds, and there are many books that can build your child's language. So thank you so much. That was just a really quick video. I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we put out a new video, which is always twice a week. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and catch you later. Thanks.